Hey guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe, with another episode, number 14, in fact, of my ongoing X-File episodes. And I think we are forecasted to complete season 1 somewhere towards the mid-end of November, if I remember right. And that'll feel like a minor accomplishment just to get season 1 under and then move on into season 2, and that's gonna feel good. So far, man, I don't see any let up, so I really do want to have, at some point, look back and know that I've conquered the entire 11 seasons. That's going to be quite a feat, I think. And as I revisit through each one with my wife, actually, every week, man, it's an X-File episode, man. We'll watch it together, say Gender Bender, and that's this week, episode 14, first drop January 21st, 94. So second episode of the new year. First one directed by Rob Bowman, who, I don't know. I saw the number, like 89 episodes he directed the X-File. That just seems like a lot. But the first film, for sure, between seasons 5 and 6. And Rob Bowman really contributed a lot to both the myth, the lore that is, and the standalone episodes that is the X-Files world. But my wife and I do watch each one together, and then I may try to watch it once or twice more during the week if I can, and then even maybe jump out ahead, as I did with this one. I jumped out to Lazarus, which, man, that is a great episode, but I'll probably look at that one more time before I actually put thoughts down to that one. So anyways, here in Gender Benders, an interesting episode for sure. How weird it opens up with this girl sort of seduces this guy in a club, if I remember right, leads him on back to a hotel room. He doesn't want to go initially, but she has this thing about her touch, and we'll learn about that in the episode. And then, of course, ends up being one of the greatest moments of his life, apparently, until he goes into some sort of, I can't remember what it's called. I can't remember the correct word. It's there in my mind, but a type of shock because the amount of poison that's been put into his body. And so there's been a few of these now. And so Mulder and Scully kind of come onto the case, and they notice, they're able to figure out that these things, that whoever the perpetrator, the antagonist is, they are moving southward down along the eastern seaboard. And so something, okay, because Mulder in his little work realizes, when realizing where the first murder took place, way up north, when they decide to go up, there's a small little town, Steveston, and there's this Amish-like community that is resides up in the hills, and they apparently mine this earthly clay, and they turn it into pottery. It's sort of how they make their money. And so, of course, it's on Mulder's radar, right? I'm trying to think of the totality of the episode. It's really interesting. It's kind of got a weird tone. It's sort of like, a good section of it is up in this Amish area where Mulder and Scully go up and try to ascertain if the person has come from this community. And then the other is actually with the killer. And so you kind of get this contrast of urban environment with this rural Amish type. And it makes for an interesting contrast in the show. When they first get to the town, they go into a store and to ask, just start asking questions, and they see the pictures up on the wall, right, of this Amish community. And of course, there's some missing and being reframed or something. And so Mulder's kind of taking a good study. They're asking a few questions, and then lo and behold, guess who arrives in town to do their weekly shopping at the feed store? It is this Amish group. I call them Amish. They're not really Amish, but it's like an Amish-like community, right, that you often see in like rural areas of Pennsylvania. I remember growing up in New York. And so they try to make headway with this group. It's not very easy. The group doesn't really deal with outsiders, and actually Scully has a interesting bit of communication with one of these guys that we'll see more later on. And once that group kind of moves on their way, they decide to go on up there and have a look-see. And let's just say, man, you find some weird things about this group, man. It seems on the surface like there's some sort of practicing cult. The word Christianity has been brought in, but this group is into anything other than biblical Christianity. It almost has this weird cult tone or feel. But you find out, man, as you're traveling along, that the killer was part of this community, still is, I guess. But they sort of disassociated with the group because they have fallen into the trap of the world offers. And this individual has a nasty, it's the right word I'm looking for, why is it escaping me? Has a little bit of a nasty and sort of curious attachment, I guess, to people. There's a word I was like, it's not there. And so, they're finding out more and more, and then they find out more that the clay has this weird property that is only found, I think, in the hills where this community is. And this chemical molder also scraped off the side of the mouth of one of the victims, which our antagonist seems to have the ability to transform into or male or female, hence the title Gender Bender, right? And so they have a near they barely escape, seemingly they barely escape intact from this community. You really think that maybe something bad is going to, of course, it's Mulder and Scully, what bad can really happen? But Scully has her own near miss with the individual that she saw earlier in town. It just seems like there's something underneath at work that there's a reason why this community remains apart from the world. It's not for the reasons that, say, an Amish community for religious reasons does. There's something else riding under the surface here. I don't know how much I want to go into, but I do want to mention a couple things. Rob Bowman, of course, again, first episode. Larry Barber and Paul Barber, who writing team on this, phenomenal job, I thought. If you haven't seen it yet, or you're revisiting it, or have just recently revisited, did you notice that interesting painting in the club, the disco club? H.R. Geiger work, and isn't it funny how the main or antagonist, there's moments where you see the antagonist standing right here and the painting is just behind, and so it kind of begs the question, what's really going on here? And I freaking love that, man. I just, when I first saw that, it was like, dude, that's H.R. Geiger. And my wife's like, huh? And I was just like, Alien. I was like, oh. And I thought that is interesting. Alex Krycek's in this episode. Before he's Alex Krycek, he guessed in this one. He'll go on to be in like 24 episodes. You believe that? I think that's what I have here. 29 episodes between seasons 2 and 9. So, and he is I think he's the last victim that he does escape our antagonist, our killer. But that's awesome. Really awesome. The whole cast was really good. The standouts, the main leads, and I keep calling them Amish. I don't know what else. It's like an Amish community, but the few main characters that are really good. And ultimately the resolution, and I don't want to get into it really. This is one that's, I think that's, if you've never seen it, or it's been a long time and you sort of can't remember how this one ends, definitely worth revisiting, just for this sort of, you call it a reveal, but how this reconciles itself at the end. It is interesting. It's got a lot of creepy vibes going on in here. It's got a lot of interesting, there's even a scene in a hallway that involves the beginning of a chase, and it calls to mind a scene that's coming down the road just a couple years, 95 maybe, a scene in 7 that involves a hallway and an exchange of fire and chase. And it just, every time you see this, it makes you wonder if David Fincher didn't take a nod to this X-File episode. I'll just leave it at that. Interesting. Well, it's about almost 11 in, so I don't know what else to say. The Amish community is creepy, all, but there's a reason for that. There is a real reason that gets revealed at the end for that, which makes it even creepier. And so there's just, it is a Monster of the Week episode, so to speak. But it does sort of, it's on the very, very, very outer periphery of what is building as the mythology of the X-Files in terms of extraterrestrial life per se, I guess, the paranormal kind of stuff that they will experience. And a nice episode with Scully, another nice one, and just continuing development of her character, which I was just really super impressed with that. So yeah, H.R. Giger, his painting work is on display in this episode. You got Alex Krycek, you got Amish community that is holding a lot of deep secrets, boy, and a killer that let's just say ultimately ends up leaving is amassing bodies in its wake as a result of close intimate contact. It's interesting. It's a very interesting episode. It's one that is definitely enjoyable. And man, I'm just having so much fun just delving into this, reliving this out week to week. Sort of old school, I guess, in a way, but X-Files, man. Just looking forward to every single week with this. It's just a blast. And so next week, Lazarus. Looking forward to that. As always, we leave these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.
We might be useful to you.